Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to give an education on the Morgan silver dollar. It's my favorite US coin to collect. I have a lot of interesting facts and cool things to talk about and show you today, so please stick around. Welcome back everybody, thanks for sticking with me. As promised, we're going to talk about the most highly collected and popular US coin, and that's the Morgan silver dollar. The Morgan silver dollar was designed by George Morgan. George Morgan at the time was the US Mint assistant engraver, and he was commissioned in 1876 to create a design for a new silver dollar. In 1876 then he enrolled in the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts to prepare to create a new Liberty Head design for the upcoming design change. He also studied nature so he could get the imagery of the bald eagle correct on his design. And unlike previous coinage, he decided he wanted to use an American woman for Liberty's likeness. That woman was Anna Willis Williams. If you remember, previous coin designs used more of a Greek appearing figure for the Liberty. So this was the first coin he actually used an American woman as the model for the obverse design. So that's a cool fact. In 1877, he then designed a pattern that was struck as a $50 that looked just like this, essentially. I mean, this is the Morgan silver dollar designed, actually I shouldn't use a 1921. Here we go, Morgan silver dollar designed by George T. Morgan. I'll tell you why I shouldn't have used a 1921 for that example coming up here. But anyway, the pattern was approved and production of the Morgan silver dollar began in March 11th, 1878 at the Philadelphia Mint. Now during the second week of production, the director of the Mint, Henry Linderman, decided to modify the reverse die to reduce the relief and to change the number of tail feathers on the eagle on the back here. I don't know if you can see the tail feathers on the bottom there, from 8 to 7, because prior to that, all US coinage on the reverse, the eagle, the bald eagle, had an odd number of tail feathers. And they also reduced the relief on the die because they were starting to see premature wear. So that is why now we have different types of the 1878 Philadelphia Morgan. There's an 8 tail feather, a 7 tail feather, and actually there's a 7/8 tail feather also. But that's interesting how that happened, and it was just after a couple of weeks that they decided to modify the die. So the 8 tail feather is a much more rare version of the 1878 Morgan silver dollar. Now the dies were sent off to San Francisco and Carson City after a few weeks in order to have them mint the Morgan silver dollar also, just to keep up with the high weekly quotas. So in 1878, we have a Philadelphia Morgan, we have a San Francisco Morgan, and we have a Carson City Morgan. Now the New Orleans Mint began making Morgans in 1879. The Denver Mint, which is the 5th mint that did produce the Morgan silver dollar, only did so in 1921. And there's one of those right here. There's a 1921 D for Denver. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's at the 6 o'clock position between the D and the O in dollar is the mint mark for the Denver. But yeah, this is the only year that Denver minted the Morgan silver dollar. So the Morgan silver dollar is made of 90% silver, 10% copper. It's 1.5 inches in diameter, and it has 0.7734 ounces troy of silver. So every Morgan silver dollar you see down on this tray in front of you has a retail value of over $100. Here's an 1881 S Morgan silver dollar. This was San Francisco Mint. You can see it's starting to tone on the edge, kind of a golden color. Toning is kind of a mixed bag for people. Some people love it, some people hate it. I fall in both categories. It really depends on what the toning looks like, if I like it or I don't like it. But here's one that's heavily toned. It's got some purples, almost like a pinkish, rosish color to it. And this is an 1897 Philadelphia Morgan silver dollar. A lot of the pure collectors tend to collect blast white Morgans. And what does blast white mean? Well, it's like it sounds. It truly means that the Morgan has a whitish appearance because it's uncirculated without any toning. This one here is an 1887 Philadelphia. High mint state example here is probably a mint state 64, just eyeballing it. So really nice, beautiful example. Now the Morgan was minted every single year from 1878 to 1904 until the silver supply that was purchased under the Sherman Silver Purchase Act was exhausted. So after 1904, all of that silver that was purchased was exhausted, producing Morgans for that, 26-year span. So the U.S. didn't produce any more silver dollars after 1904 until the Pittman Act of 1918 was passed, which authorized our government to melt 350 million of these. What a tragedy. They had legislation to melt 350,000 of these down in order to produce new ones with a newer date. The U.S. eventually only melted a little over 270 million, and of that, 259 million were sold to the United Kingdom at $1 per ounce to help them shore up their silver supply, which was being depleted during World War I. So 270 million pieces of history were melted, never to be seen again, in 1918. So in 1921, the U.S. minted 88 million Morgan silver dollars with a new master die. So this is the 1921. I can tell by looking at them at a glance, even from the backside, without looking at the year, if one's a 1921, because there are little nuances that are a little bit different, because they did have to create a new master die in order to make the 1921 Morgans, because the original one was destroyed in 1910. Another terrible tragedy. You know, they stopped minting in 1904, kept the die around for 6 more years, and then decided to destroy it. So they had to make a new master die to produce these 1921 Morgans. And the 1921s were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, which is the only Denver minted Morgan, and San Francisco. So that's kind of the brief history on the Morgan. I'm going to show you some now and do a little more explaining here what we have. But as I mentioned before, every Morgan on this tray right here has a retail value of $100 or more. But they only have 0.7734 ounces of silver. So at $25 silver today, you know, you're looking at $18 and change in the amount of silver that's inside these. Sometimes, though, you can buy these like bullion. Of course, this is a collectible coin, and you're paying a high collectible price over its silver value. And I know that's not for everybody. But for me personally, I dabble in both collectible coins and precious metal investing. So what I mean by you can buy these cheaper, closer to bullion price, when you start getting ones that look like these. So these are what's called cull, C-U-L-L, silver dollars. Cull means damaged, to the point where there's really no collector value left within the coin. These two in particular are severely, severely worn, and they happen to have holes in them. I didn't put the holes in them, somebody else did. But the story behind this, there was a coin dealer friend of mine who over the years sold every single holed silver dollar that he had to one client. That's all the client wanted was holed silver dollars. So that client had amassed hundreds, I'm talking 5, 6, 7, 800 holed and damaged silver dollars like these from that coin dealer friend of mine. Well, eventually that individual passed away, and the family then sold back all of those damaged and holed silver dollars to the dealer that originally sold them to the family. So he ended up at a coin show with bags and bags of these. Now I don't mean big canvas bags, but Ziploc bags with like 50 in a bag. Well, I bought a few bags just to have them. At the time, I basically paid melt, which I believe was at the time about $14 or $15 per coin. And I've been working through them over the past 3 or 4 years now. I probably have 15 to 20 left. But what I decided to do for the ones that have holes, I made it into a keychain. And I have a silver dollar on all of my keychains now, just so I always have a piece of silver with me. You never know when you might need it. But that's a cool thing that you can do with holed silver dollars. Why somebody thought to put holes in them to begin with, maybe they put a string on it and wore it around their neck. I'm really not sure. But yeah, these are the lowest of the low grades. These are called culls. And these can often be bought much, much closer to silver price with a smaller premium markup than a collectible dollar. I have another tray of things here I'll show you. Actually, I was going to show this one too. This one's been graffitied. Has a bunch of carving in it and a hole. And this was a better date too. This was in 1899 New Orleans. So it's a shame that that happened, but once again, you never know what people are going to do. But cool piece of history. I wish I knew the reasoning behind this, but somebody did really beat this up. So along the top here, I have a silver dollar from each of the 5 mints. So this is in 1889. And notice I don't have a mint mark listed on it because this was made in Philadelphia. The mint mark on the Morgan silver dollar, as I said earlier, is between the D and the O, right above it at the 6 o'clock position on the reverse. And the Philadelphia has no mint mark. A lot of people mistakenly, or they look in a coin book and they'll see the 1889 P. They think the P stands for plain because there's no mint mark. The P stands for Philadelphia. So 1889 Philadelphia Morgan silver dollar, no mint mark. Here's a 1878 Carson City. This is a nice coin. Carson Cities are highly collectible no matter what the condition. This one in particular is a low mint state, so it's really nice. It looks like we got 480 bucks on it, but to put the, let me try to get this into focus here, the mint mark on camera here. As I said before, the Carson City is right there between the D and the O. Hopefully you can see that on camera okay. Next we have San Francisco, an 1883 San Francisco Morgan silver dollar. This is a little better date from San Francisco. Some of the most common San Francisco Morgan dollars that you can find in high condition are the 1880, 1881, and 1882, all from San Francisco. They're very common to find in high grades. So even in really high grades, they're not very expensive. You can buy a mint state 63 for 60 bucks, 70 bucks. I mean, they're beautiful coins, but they're very common in high grades. But to show you the mint mark here, there's the S right there, San Francisco. Here's a toned example. This one is starting to rainbow tone. Hopefully this translates well on camera. But this is an 1885 from New Orleans. The New Orleans Mint, as I mentioned, began producing in 1879 for the Morgan silver dollar, and they didn't produce every year, but they had a pretty good run. They did mint Morgans for quite a few years. This one actually has toning on the back as well. This is a really pretty coin. But once again, there's the O mint mark right there. O for New Orleans. And then 1921 Denver, as I mentioned before. This is the only year Denver minted a Morgan silver dollar was in 1921. And this one is starting to tone. I call this muddled toning. It's not really pretty rainbow colors or bright colors. It's kind of dark and dingy. It almost looks speckled. But some people like that. But this is considered toning. Backside same way, although the backside does have a little bit of color. And I know it's going to be hard to see, but the D for Denver mint mark is right there. So the Morgan silver dollar, as I said, is, in my opinion, the most popular and most collected U.S. coin that's ever been produced. Basically every collection or hoard or accumulation I buy has Morgan silver dollars in it. But because it's so popular, the Morgan silver dollar has been, the imagery of it has been used on so many things. I have a few examples sitting right here. And then here's a silver round. This silver round is in the imagery of a Morgan silver dollar, although there's no date. Once again, very similar imagery on the back. This one's made by 9 Fine Mint. They got the little 9 with the circle right there. But there's many silver rounds that are produced that have this imagery because it's such a popular design. I even have a, where is it? I even have a coaster that's in the design of a Morgan silver dollar. I put my drinks on here all throughout the day here at the coin shop, but here's for size comparison. But yeah, there's even coasters out there, so it's kind of cool. And then certain companies, in order to capitalize and make some extra money on a otherwise fairly cheap coin, they'll colorize these. So this is what they imagined a colorized Lady Liberty would have looked like. But this is an authentic 1921 Morgan silver dollar where both sides are colorized. I'm selling this for 36 bucks. Based on the details, I presume it's uncirculated underneath the enameling. I'm not sure if this is painted or stickered, quite honestly, but it's one or the other. But you're buying the coin, not the coloring. But yeah, there's companies that produce these and put these out, and they charge astronomical prices for these. And people buy them, unfortunately. I don't know what these cost in the magazine ad or the TV ad, but I guarantee you it was more than $36. Then I have some certified coins from some different companies here. One thing you can do with your Morgan silver dollars is send them in to be certified, which authenticates that the coin is real and it certifies the condition of the coin. So this is an 1885 O, and if you remember from before, O for New Orleans, MS64 Morgan silver dollar. This one has some toning on the back as well. It's starting to get some orangish, goldish toning around the rims. So yeah, it's a beautiful coin. $100 retail on that. And then here's from a grading company called ICG, which is kind of a second or third tier grading company. They're legitimate. They're a legitimate company that does grade and certify coins, but typically stuff graded by this company sells for less than the same coin in the same grade certified by NGC or PCGS. So that's just how it is, because this company has a tendency to overgrade a little bit. I did do a whole video on grading coins, or graded coins I should say, so I'll put that link in the description. But if you're curious on what you should look for if you're going to start buying graded like this, encapsulated, slabbed, certified, they all mean the same coins, there's things you need to be aware of and to look out for. So be sure to check out that video. I'll link it in the description. So, and as I already touched on, this is PCGS. This is a top tier grading company along with NGC. Their graded coins receive the highest sale prices in auction settings because they are the most well-respected grading companies out there. PCGS, NGC. And kind of the second level, and this is the oldest grading company in the United States, maybe in the world. This is ANACS, A-N-A-C-S, if you can see it on the label there. This is one of their older style holders. So this is more of a vintage one. Look at that pretty toning on this coin. Got the rainbows around the rim. But this is an 1878 San Francisco Mint State 64 Morgan silver dollar. So as I mentioned before, the Morgan was minted from 1878 to 1904, and then again in 1921. Well, 100 years later, the U.S. Mint decided to put out a Morgan silver dollar and Peace silver dollar program to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the switchover from the Morgan silver dollar to the newer design, which was the Peace silver dollar, which happened in 1921. So I don't have the coins, but I have the boxes that they came in. But the U.S. Mint did this program and put these out. It was, if you got some of these through the Mint, good for you, because it was a fiasco. The U.S. Mint isn't very well equipped to handle releases of coins, and a lot of people get kicked off the server, and it's a big mess. But anyway, they put out a Philadelphia 2021 Morgan, a San Francisco, a Carson City, a Denver, and a New Orleans to represent the 5 mints, as I said before, that produced the original Morgan silver dollars. Now this program in 2022 was suspended, but it was picked up again this year in 2023, and the Mint just recently released 2023 Morgan and Peace silver dollars. The thing about these, and as I said, the coin isn't in here, the thing I don't like is I think they got it wrong. As I said before, a Morgan silver dollar, well, here, let me grab this one. A Morgan silver dollar, these are 90% silver, 10% copper, and they have 0.7734 ounces of pure silver within. So you would think the coin that the Mint puts out commemorating the 100th anniversary of the stoppage of that coin would have the same specs. Well, it doesn't. These modern ones are actually 999 pure, so they're technically a bullion grade coin, and they have 0.858 ounces troy of silver within. So honestly, it's basically the same as this Cook Islands one. So they look similar to this. But anyway, they didn't do the same purity, and they didn't do the same silver weight as the originals, and that's always bothered me. So after the 2021 program came out, I got my set. I don't ever plan to buy any more. So in my opinion, the Mint screwed up, but some people I think prefer the 3/9 pure. My collector side of me tells me I would have rather had it had the same specs as the original. So anyway, rant over. But just to recap, the Morgan silver dollar is very, very popular. Actually, I'll tell you something quick. I had the privilege of appraising a complete set of Morgan silver dollars, except the 1895 proof. For those of you who don't know, the 1895 proof is the king of the series. It's easily a $50,000 coin or more, because only, I believe it was 880 were produced. 880 is all. So if you want to technically complete your Morgan silver dollar set, you need to have that 1895 proof. But this set had all the others besides that. It had all of the key dates, the 1892 and 93S, the 1889 Carson City. Beautiful, beautiful collection in high grades too. I had the privilege of appraising that collection last week for an individual who drove almost 2 hours to come see me. So I was pleased to help them out and give them a valuation on that. I haven't had the opportunity to purchase it yet, but I hope that time is possibly coming. So, but anyway, one more thing I'll touch on that I haven't talked about yet. I featured these in my videos before. This is called a GSA Morgan. Now what these are, Morgan silver dollars were bags and bags of them were found in the treasury vaults in the late 60s, early 70s. So in order to capitalize on that, and by that time the silver within these was worth more than $1, so they weren't going to release them into circulation. Prior to that, in the early 60s, these still had $1 or less of silver within, so they circulated still as dollar coins. But anyway, once the value of these got to be higher than $1, they weren't going to re-release them into circulation. So Government Service Administration, I believe, GSA, might be agency, I'll correct it on the screen if I'm wrong, put these out by mail order. People could order certain amounts. In a sense, it was almost a little bit of a lottery system, because not everybody that wanted these could buy them, but you could buy them for relatively cheap prices, although you did pay a collector premium. But a lot of these, all of these really got bought up then in the early 70s through these government style auctions. But they have high value today. Not all of them were Carson City, but most were. This one in particular, it's one of the common ones, 1884. It's a $335 retail on this right now. But it's a beautiful uncirculated example of a Carson city. So yeah, there's a lot of people that snatch these up knowing that, you know, they might have to pay $15, $20 each, knowing that that collectability is there, and they can make money on it down the road. So, but that's what these are. If you hear the term GSA, it's this type of Morgan silver dollar, mostly are Carson cities, in this hard pack slab. It actually comes with a box and papers as well, but a lot of the boxes and papers have been destroyed over the years. So unfortunately, I don't have any with boxes and papers. I just have the slabs or the lenses left. But that's what that is. That's what's been staring at you most of this video. So hope you enjoyed this video. There's a lot to learn, a lot to talk about with the Morgan. I only touched on a few things. But if you enjoy videos like this, drop it down in the comments. I have a whole long laundry list of educational videos that I want to put out with different type of US coins that hopefully will interest you all. I know primarily this is a silver stacking channel, and it'll probably remain that way, but I am going to touch on silver coinage and gold coinage as well, because that's all part of what comes in and goes out in the coin shop here. So I want people to have an education on different things, and who knows, I might even turn some of you stackers into collectors. We will see. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the support, and I can't thank you enough. The stacking community is the best community out there, and you all are great. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.